We would like to go ahead and get started so we can get things going. Just have everyone's attention. Okay.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, just about good afternoon to everyone. The healthcare ministry, in efforts to bring more relevant health topics to our congregation, is excited to have our speaker today and the information that she's going to share. Darnithia is a member here, and we are excited to know that she has information that is relevant to autism that we can share not only with our local congregation, with others that we know as well. As a healthcare ministry lead, I just want to take the time and opportunity to thank Brother Stokes and the Northeast Side Church for this opportunity. We look forward to bringing other health topics to our congregation. Several of you have mentioned things that you would like to have information on. So if we have those in our congregation that are experts, we're going to use our congregation members to speak with us. And just this opportunity has allowed or shows that we have opportunity to learn more about each other as members and what our members specialize in, what they do day to day. And so I'm excited for Darnithia to speak to us. So let me give you a little bit of information that you may not have been aware of about Sister Morgan, because I was not. Darnithia Morgan is a licensed and board certified behavior analyst with extensive educational, clinical, and professional development experience in the field of applied behavioral analysis. She earned her Bachelor of Science degree in biology from Mississippi University for Women. After earning her undergraduate degree, Darnithia pursued and earned her Master of Education degree in education. She did not stop there. She completed her certification courses in applied behavior analysis through Florida Institute of Technology. It was during this time that she worked with children in Head Start, Early Head Start, a treatment center for autism, Hardwood School, Angels Program, Sibling Workshop at UT Bowling Center for Developmental Disabilities, and local school districts. Darnithia has been a strong advocate for children with disabilities and their families in this field for over 10 years now, helping to spearhead the first ever Autism Speaks Walk in Memphis, Tennessee. Her determination, her motivation stems from her own personal experience in parenting her son diagnosed with autism and ADHD. Her goal is to leave a legacy in working with children and their families that will far surpass her long after she is gone. Please join me in welcoming Sister Morgan, and put your hands together as she comes.
Hello, everyone. Okay, bear with me. I'm nervous. I hate speaking in front of people. um, but I'm here to talk to you a little bit about autism spectrum disorder, coined autism. But we utilize the term spectrum because it does not encompass one single disorder. Individuals that fall on the spectrum fall on the spectrum in different ways. They have different abilities and different skills. But there are some common and characteristics and main features of autism that they do share. And that's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. But first, autism is kind of synonymous with PDD. That is pervasive developmental disorder. So when you hear autism, sometimes you may hear PDD. Sometimes it may be called PDD-NOS, which is pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified. Asperger's syndrome, that is, you usually find that more in high-functioning individuals. And then childhood disintegral disability or disorder. So a lot of individuals with autism have difficulties in three main areas. And one of those areas is social interaction. With social interaction, they usually have a hard time establishing and maintaining eye contact. Facial expression, their facial expression is usually flat. Body posture compared to their peers are usually kind of unusual or awkward. Emotional signals, they are usually not aware of their emotional responses to others, and they don't recognize the triggers for their emotions. Reciprocity, this is like the give and take in social interactions with other people. They have difficulty in a give and take situation. They lack interest in shared enjoyment. So they tend to like to isolate themselves. They find enjoyment in playing alone and by themselves. They're not necessarily tuned in to achievements of others. Not that they don't celebrate them, but they just don't tend to know how. Understanding of other feelings. They don't tend to understand other individuals' feelings. A hallmark of autism is in early childhood when you see kids that play games like peekaboo. A lot of individuals with autism, they don't enjoy games like that. So that's an early hallmark of knowing that it could possibly be something more that could be going on with that child. A lot of them don't find comfort in touch. Either the touch may be too hard, or it may be not enough pressure for them. So another domain of autism is social communication. With social communication, you have individuals that are verbal and nonverbal. A lot of them either start off with some form of verbal communication, and then at some point they lose that communication. Some never even establish the communication. They tend to have a hard time with taking turns. They don't like to really share. They have a hard time attending to tasks, so they don't remain engaged with tasks or activities. A lot of them have what we call stereotype behavior. They repeat like sounds or phrases, and we call that echolalia. So they'll echo whatever it is that you said. They have difficulty in listener perspective. They have sometimes a strange sense of humor, or they don't have humor. They have difficulties in innuendo. They tend to be more concrete. They're more focused on their own needs versus the needs of others. So another domain of autism spectrum disorder is behavior. When we talk about behavior, a lot of it is repetitive, restrictive behavior. They tend to focus on parts and pieces of things. So like with a shirt, maybe they'll focus on a button or a zipper. A truck, maybe the wheels on the truck instead of the item as a whole. They normally tend to be preoccupied with whatever it is that's going on in their environment or in their world, and not the things around them. A lot of them have a high need for sameness and routine, so they have difficulties with transitioning from one activity or one task to the other, especially if it's an activity or task that they really enjoy, and then you take them from that to something more difficult that they don't want to do. A lot of them show classical signs of body rocking. Usually you find this in individuals that are more moderate to severe on the spectrum. They do a lot of body rocking, hand flapping, twiddling of their fingers or twirling of their fingers, or even an object. They even do the spinning. A lot of them have either hypersensitive, or they either are hypersensitive or they lack thereof, meaning they are either hypersensitive to maybe lights. The light could be too bright, or the touch again could be too hard. It could be the texture of clothes or the texture of food. So those are the three main common characteristics of autism. Not one individual encompasses all of these things. It's very based on the individual. So you're not going to find the same thing with each person that's diagnosed with autism. With autism, again, they have that spectrum. Usually range from a very low IQ, where they have a very severe or moderate intellectual or cognitive disabilities, to all the way up to giftedness. Some of you or all of you may have seen the movie Rain Man. In that movie, he was very gifted. So you'll see some as gifted as have a unique gift with music, numbers, lists, dates. They can call them out just like that. They tend to have features of ADHD, anxiety, and depression. So they could be dual or multiply diagnosed with several different conditions. I talked about the savant-like skills. That's what the guy in Rain Man possessed, that savant-like skills. They're very gifted. They have unusual sensory issues. Again, the texture of food, the touch. They may touch someone too hard, and they are not aware, but the others are aware. They have difficulty. Pain is another thing that sometimes they could have difficulties with pain as well. Sleep problems, some of them, they're not able to sleep well at night. They have difficulties with activities for daily living, like their day-to-day activities could be a big struggle for them, especially as they get older. Personal hygiene tasks, being able to organize their homework and different things like that. They lack that organization skills, or even just their room could be just in complete disarray because they lack those skills, and those tend to interfere with their day-to-day interactions. So with autism, there is no cure, but it can be treated, and that's kind of where me and my team come in at. We provide the treatment side of it. We provide something that is widespread and evidence-based amongst the community in autism is applied behavior analysis. Acronym is ABA. So we provide those services, and if you get those services earlier on, like from the ages of 1 to 3, it can make a big difference in an individual's life between them being severe and being highly functioning. Of course, a lot of other factors go into that as well. But if you want to know more information about any resources for autism, those are some sites that are listed there. We have the CDC.gov, Mayo Clinic. Here, Autism Resources of the Mid-South, and Autism Speaks is a national organization that also give a lot of information on autism. If you're interested in any information on treatment or early intervention services, you can go to our website at www.aba-effects.com, or you can contact us via phone. Phone number is listed up there, or via email, and we'll respond back to you. That's it, y'all. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, so thank you for that. My
You're
great nephew is autistic, so I definitely could see a lot of what you were sharing in there. You mentioned about the walk that you started.
Mhm.
Is that like an annual walk? And if so, when does that actually occur?
It actually happened one year, the first year that we helped spearhead it, and we have not had another one here in Memphis as a whole with that particular organization. You do have other like smaller organizations here in Memphis that will put on different walks just within their community, but not like we did with the Autism Speaks that kind of encompassed it, included everyone in there. Yeah. So, but for any walks, you can always go to Autism Speaks. They have like a list of walks that's in this area or surrounding areas. Yeah. You're welcome. Any other questions?
And can you tell us how, I guess, how are individuals diagnosed? And can you be diagnosed, can the diagnosis be missed?
The diagnosis can definitely be missed. Usually that has been the issue. It's very difficult to diagnose because it's a wide range of those characteristics that I talked about. It's not the same in everyone. So those three main domains that I talked about, the social interaction, the social communication, and the behavior, those are the three main domains that psychiatrists or psychologists or medical doctors look at when trying to determine if an individual actually has autism or not. But it can be missed because it varies greatly amongst individuals. So no one person is the same. No one person is going to have all of those characteristics, but they, they could, but they more than likely they don't. So that's why it's important that, in dealing with individuals with autism, that you got to, it needs to be individualized. Yeah. Any other question? Yes?
Darlene, I just mentioned to you a few minutes ago about how some of my minister friends we met last week, and I didn't know some of them had autistic children. But they say normally with churches, most churches ignore kids with autism or students with autism. They don't minister to them. What can churches do better, or the religious community do better, to make sure that we share the same services with kids with autism, adults with autism, as we do with everybody else?
Okay, I think putting on programs like this, one, to make people aware that it is out there, and then also when having like church programs and services, to keep in mind those individuals with autism may need something a little bit different or more, something a little bit extra. So like when you have a children's Bible class, maybe too many people for them may be an issue, and it could cause problem behaviors. It can cause those maladaptive behaviors to occur because it could be too loud. The lights could be too bright. So just being aware of those things and planning around there. Like when you have an Easter egg hunt, ensure that you are keeping in mind those individuals with autism, maybe having something smaller and separate for them, or not necessarily separate, but just know that they may need some more one-to-one attention versus someone that may be considered typical or normal. Any other questions?
When the children are being diagnosed, they're diagnosed with a medical professional, and then they refer them to someone else for additional assistance?
Yes. Usually they would go to, so the first step would be if you suspect that your child or someone that may have autism, then the first thing you want to do is take them to their pediatrician's office. That's someone that should see them regularly and probably would know them best, and have a developmental assessment done. Or you could go to a lot of schools, let their school psychologists, teachers refer certain students to their admin, and they send them for an evaluation through the school psychologist, or you could have it privately done and go get your own evaluation through a psychiatrist or a medical doctor. Yes.
I just have a comment because I have two. I have two nephews who have autism. One was diagnosed sooner, and the other one was not. And the other one that was diagnosed sooner functions more than the one who was not. So what I'm saying, because my one sister, she was kind of, she just didn't want to know that. She didn't want that to be the case.
Yeah.
So there was delayed. Don't let anybody delay you. If your doctor because it took a while, for either of them to be diagnosed, but stick to it and You know what's going on.
Right.
Even if they're telling you that,
Right.
no, he'll be
Right.
fine. You stick to it.
Right.
And get your diagnosis.
That's-
Because I can see my one is 33. He works, but the other one is 28. He still lives at home with his mom. So.
Right, that's so true. Don't ignore the signs. When TJ was smaller, I was told, hey, boys, they just develop slower than girls. But in my gut, I knew something was not right because Taylor had come along and she was hitting milestones that he just did not hit, and he was older. So yeah, don't ignore those gut instincts. It's better to be safe than sorry because early intervention is key. Again, it matters between the ages of 1 to 3. You can get a plethora of services here in Tennessee if you get the diagnosis early, because usually your doctor is going to, if they find that the child is delayed, they would send a referral over to Tennessee Early Intervention System, and they just provide a plethora of services, but it ends at the age of 3. And then at 3, it goes into the public school system or privately if you can afford to pay for it, and we know it's not a whole lot of resources there. So those services are cut drastically for that individual. So, any other? Yes.
Just one more question based on what you just said. So the services that you offered, are those through most people's insurance will pay for that?
Yes. Now insurance, a lot of insurance cover the applied behavior analysis. So whether it's state funded or public funded, or private funded, they will cover ABA. Yes. You just have to have a diagnosis. You do have to have a diagnosis of autism and present some type of behavior that is going to interfere with their day-to-day living.
Sister Darnithia, tell us again the name of your company and the services you provide.
Okay.
They can
Okay.
share that with others.
Okay, the name of my company is ABA Effects. That's where we provide ABA services to children with disabilities. And my other company is Exceedance Behavioral Health. That's the company where we provide services to adults with disabilities. And these adults are normally in group homes through the state. And so we go in and provide services that way. So it's ABA Effects. You could go to aba-effects.com for any information you may need regarding treatment or getting the applied behavior analysis services. Exceedance Behavioral Health is a little bit different because, again, you have to be in a group home that's funded through the state for adults. Yes.
I had my granddaughter tested because of her speech at an early age because I had her from a baby.
Mhm.
And so I had her tested. The lady came to my house and did the test, but she said that she was fine. So I see now as she's getting older, her speech is getting better.
Yes. Sometimes you'll get that. Sometimes you'll take them in for an evaluation, and they may miss it because you have different variables in the environment that play a factor in the way that child would respond at that time. So they may miss it. So if you know it's in your gut, I would say go get a second or third one till you feel comfortable that you've gotten the right decision on it. And you have to be kind of aggressive with it because time is of essence. Yeah. Yes. So there have been theories, but there is not substantial evidence to determine, what the actual cause is. Some people have said it's because of the vaccines. Some people, and so that's been disputed. But we do know that it is a neurological condition, and more than likely it could be genetic. but there's not a known cause for it. It just haven't been enough evidence to say specifically this is the cause of it. Any other questions? Okay. You're welcome.
Great. Let's thank her again, Sister Morgan. And she mentioned being nervous and not liking to speak in front of people, but she did a great job. And if I learned a lot, so we really want to thank you again, Darnithia, stepping outside of your comfort zone. She had some information that you provided on the table back there. Is that for us to take as well? Okay. So there's some information on the table. We want to thank again Sister Neal for decorating for us today, Sister Morgan, Brother Stokes for the idea of autism awareness, and just thank you all for staying with us. So we look forward to more topics. Sister Acacia and I are going to talk just after this. So we'll have more information and topics to come. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you. All singers to the front.